Hey, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the Weapon Works podcast. I'm Zach. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my man Chris over here with S3F Solutions. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate you coming by. You're actually the first guy that has come in here and did it in person with me, so I really appreciate it.
It's awesome. It's good to be in the local area of the Carolinas now. Moving out from Vegas.
Yep, we're fucking neighbors now, man. That's good. That's good. So, S3F, man, how long you guys been around?
We've been around now for about five and a half years.
Okay, and your predominant product, what you making?
As of today, we manufacture match-grade drop-in Glock barrels, and we've been pushing into the aftermarket parts like strikers, plungers, guide rods, and that's kind of what our bread and butter is right now.
Nice. So, how did you end up getting into the barrel game? Like, where did this idea come from, man?
It actually, the company changed a little bit over the years that we've been around. When the company first started, we actually were a reloading ammunition company. Not many people know that. And I had worked prior at LAX Range and Ammo in Inglewood, California. I left that and I started to do competitive shooting for quite a while. Once that ammunition kind of realized that was like a kind of race to the bottom, we started moving into the AR parts. AR parts that we realized that it was a lot harder to sell $1,250 uppers compared to selling parts that we knew that we could manufacture into. And, there's a couple 100 million Glocks out there. There just wasn't a lot of people doing a ton of aftermarket parts for them yet. Back in the day, it was really kind of Lone Wolf, Storm Lake, KKM. That was kind of the big names, that people kind of went to, KKM being probably the most dominant of it. At that point in time, we had some good friends that were running a machine shop, and we kind of pitched an idea to them about producing into this Glock product. And from there on out, we worked together, we partnered, and we started to kind of create what we call the first 44. And a couple of guys that are probably watching this may have the first 44 out there.
Nice.
We kind of quickly realized that we manufactured a product to a specification that was too tight for Glock. And so after that, we had to actually kind of loosen it just a little bit. And then we got to where we're at today. Okay.
So, but off camera, you were telling me a little bit about like your guarantee on the barrels. What are you looking at with a guarantee? What do you guys offer?
Well, the one thing that we haven't run into really is a round count. We don't really kind of know where we're at. We've had Shane Coley run our barrels. We have a couple of barrels out there with 100,000 rounds on them. We got barrels with 30,000, 50,000 on them, but we'll always have a mechanical warranty on them. If anything is mechanically wrong with the barrel, you can always reach out to us and we'll try and make it right. Over the last year, we've actually went through 8 different coaters.
Okay.
And the reason that we did that is so that as of today, if you buy any PVD coatings like TIN, rose gold, or anything else that we're going to go through that line, they now have a lifetime warranty on them. Okay. So if your coating starts to wear, you can actually pull that back into us, and our coaters have an agreement with us that if something is actually deemed wrong with that coating, we'll get it recoated for you. And we're now over this year working on trying to allocate black coaters as well that do that. It's a little bit different of a coating, so it's been a lot harder to kind of nail that down. But we're always trying to drive forward and make sure that something is good for the end user.
Okay, I got you. So, I know you were in the Army, right?
Prior, yeah.
Prior. So how did you go from toting a rifle to a living to having this idea of starting this company up? What were the steps involved in between there?
Man, that was a really hard transition. Leaving the military was not by choice. It was definitely it was an accident on someone's part that kind of crushed me in between 2 striker APCs. Screwed my body up pretty bad. And for the next 2 years, when I moved back to California, a majority of the time, all I was doing was riding a road bike around California.
Okay.
Trying to find a purpose again and what I wanted to do. At that point in time, that's when I moved into like working at the gun range.
Okay.
And someone convinced me to start shooting 3-gun and pistol because I was relatively pretty decent at it. And that was kind of where like the snowball effect was. They always keep saying, if you do something and you put yourself in front of people, like in a servitude type of a job, you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
And that really kind of opened up a lot of doors for us. And that kind of just snowballed into me selling parts that I was shooting for. And then the rest of the story was kind of from there on out.
Nice. I know it is a hard transition coming back from the military. I know you've been out. When did you get out?
I got out August of 2008 now.
August in 2008. Yeah, it's a tough transition for a lot of guys. I know
it is.
I know we were talking off camera about some of the foundations you work with, trying to prevent, veterans doing stupid shit, in order to, it's like a support system to kind of a safety net for everybody, so they always have someone to talk to, kind of thing, right?
Yep. I think there's a couple of teams that I'm working with. One of them is a paintball organization called Veteran Militia. We've got about 1,300 members strong throughout the nation right now. It's a way for guys that can actually come together, play some ball together, be able to express things that may be going in our heads that they don't know how to talk or how to actually express those feelings anymore. We've all been told to be, hey man, you're a hard motherfucker.
Yeah.
Don't talk about your feelings.
Yeah. And you can't explain a lot of those fucking thoughts that's going through your head to just Joe Blow walking down the street. Motherfuckers, they'll have your ass locked.
Well, I think it's hard to have that relationship sometimes with someone when you're telling them, you're like, hey man, like I smoked a couple dudes with a saw and I watched a father snuff out his daughter because she had leprosy. How do you have that relationship with someone when they just can't even put their head and grasp around that? Yeah,
dude, that's not something you talk about over Sunday dinner, no doubt.
So, right. And so I think the only way that we're going to be able to fix some of the issues that we're having as a veteran organization or as vets in general, and start to cut back on the suicide rate or the stigma that, hey man, you can't talk, you can't be doing this, is by being brutally fucking honest.
Yeah.
And when I go down and a couple of the guys that may be watching, Cody and a couple other buddies that are down on Bragg right now, like I'm very, very forward when I have conversations with a couple of guys. Like, hey man, this is what I've dealt with. This is what you may deal with when you exit. Don't feel like it's unusual or it's uncommon.
Yeah.
This is something very normal, and there's ways that we can help each other to make sure that you're on the right path, man, because I've just seen it too often, and that, you leave the military, whatever branch it is, and that's kind of like, all right, man, thanks for your service.
See you later.
Have good life.
Good luck, dude.
And now you're kind of like roaming around going like, okay, what do I do? But year 1, year 2, year 3, things tend to get worse because inside of your head, sometimes you're playing with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, usually when you start working with something like you're talking about here with the foundation, it's usually a good thing when the guy who is helping out with it is a near and dear to your heart kind of thing. So
yeah, I mean, I think any vet, there's a type of relationship with any of us, right, that we all want to kind of help each other, and we're servitudes to the nation, or we have that type of service to the nation where we felt like a wolf, a predator. You are a hunter. You're a hard, bad motherfucker. But you lose that brotherhood or your battle buddy per se.
Yeah.
Once you leave and you're kind of on your own, and from those first early years on in your 20s or whenever it was that you're listed, you're still kind of forming into your own entity.
Yeah.
I've always said the 20s are your 30s, are your very hard years of your life. Your 30s, you kind of are coming into your own a little bit more, and you understand how to play the game of life per se. And when you're in the military, for me at least, it was, I went in 18, I left at 24. My team leader, when I left, that he was almost like a father figure to me. Like, you're learning a lot of skill sets from these individuals. They're a brother with you. You're barbecuing with them. You're hanging out with them. You're doing war with these guys. You leave, you don't have that chain of command or that group anymore.
Yeah.
So it was a very hard transition for me.
That's good. That's good. I know that's a good way to. I like the idea of the foundation. I think it's very important. I never saw any combat. I was in the Marine Corps, so I probably don't understand it quite to the point that you understand it. But
you still got guys that you're around every single day, though.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Something that you just don't have normally, I guess, in the civilian world.
But it's good to see somebody putting together a support system like that. I like that.
It's not all my thanks. Chris Rangel from Under, he's one of the biggest under industries. Hey man, shout out to Chris. If they need he does custom jerseys, pants, all that stuff. He's really the big push behind it. we've been lucky enough and blessed enough to just be a part of it and keep helping push that big avenue for them.
That's good, man. That's good. If you guys ever need any help with anything, y'all holler at me.
We will.
I got
Absolutely.
you. I got you. So I'm gonna kind of go off and get back a little bit to S3F, man. So growing S3F, right? So you started with your first 44, you said, right?
Yeah. Yep. I started with our first 44.
So between your first 44 and the volume that you're doing today, what were some of the hiccups that you guys saw?
Definitely figuring out what barrels sell, what barrels don't sell.
Mm-hmm.
You're always kind of changing things around a little bit. I mean, back in the day, we didn't used to edge break a lot of our corners on barrels. We edge break everything now.
Mm-hmm.
We've changed tolerances a little bit. We've tried producing into different colors and whatnot. We brought on the big laser systems so that we can be a little bit more creative to our customer base.
Okay.
I think the other part that's been very interesting for us is when we first started as a company, we really kind of created the barrel game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only other people, I guess, at the time that were doing gold barrels or any type of coloring was Salient Arms at the moment.
Okay.
And they were taking OEM barrels and putting them into a TIN and selling them off as their black and gold packages.
I got you.
That created a big kind of niche. We jumped in the game and we really, I think, kind of stayed connected to our consumer base. And we really like to be at events, TriggerCon and SHOT Shows and three-gun events if we can, so that we can have that relationship with our consumer. And I think that really kind of helped us a little bit step out of what big companies were kind of doing and helped us grow and stay grassroots a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah. I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, is pretty much, do you think it's a social media thing that kind of got you from where you started to where you are now?
Oh man. Yeah.
See,
yeah, it's been crazy.
A lot of these guys that own companies that I'm meeting and a lot of my friends that own companies, that it's just amazing the power of social media, what it did. It's a love-hate relationship with social media. Like it takes up a whole lot of my life. So I'm guessing it does yours too, if you guys started off and it was a social media based thing.
Yeah, it's social media is kind of like a double-edged sword. It definitely gives you more access to the entire world than you could have ever imagined, essentially.
Okay.
It gives everyone a platform to sit on their own soapbox and say anything that they want, any accusation that they want, any type of positive, any type of negative, and have it be seen immediately, felt immediately, and they don't have to say it to your face. But with that being said, on the flip side of it, it works the same way for a company.
Yeah.
You can be in front of as many people as you want. You can grow it as large as you want. You can put as much effort into as you want. And there is as many platforms really out there that you want to be on. I mean, you can throw a dart at the board and you've got your Twitters, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your gun channels, and all this other stuff that you can market on.
But that's something that we have now that the guys back in the day were starting businesses didn't have. Right, I mean, it's a viable option to take something from basically nothing, a small little niche company, and just grow it into something that you can. Huh?
Look at Patton.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect example. That dude came, he was running his own stuff. He rebranded and he exploded.
Yeah.
I mean, he is doing a great job bringing solid news to the industry and thinking outside of the box compared to what a lot of the old companies used to do. I mean, you don't see guys marketing on magazines that much anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, John Patton was my second interview on the podcast.
He's a great dude.
So if you guys haven't watched that, you guys need to go over and watch John Patton. Shout out to the Gun Collective, because those fucking guys are great.
Dude, awesome dudes. Awesome show.
Great job. Yeah. John's kind of crazy the way his shit blew up. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Dude. Pretty amazing.
But that goes to show you exactly right there where you're seeing this over the last couple of years. You've seen a very big change and shift where now, like, we have companies that'll come to us and be like, hey Chris, like, how would you feel about dropping $8,000 and advertising into my magazine? And the hard thing about that is, like, well, where do I see the residual on that? Where do I see statistics on that? Who do I see is clicking on your magazine or going to my website off that? You can't track any of it.
They're like, but $15,000, please.
Yeah. And so it becomes very hard to to justify that, where you can go and spend $1,000 on a YouTube page or on a YouTube video that you want to then edit, or your Instagrams or your consumer bases or anything like that, and literally get your statistics the next day off of who saw it, who clicked on it, who went to your website, and then build off the advertisement or a marketing plan that attacks directly back to your consumer base.
You're exactly right. The those magazine ads that are on the wall, I'm not going to say what company it is, but they did those ads. They spent thousands and thousands of dollars on those ads, and he told me that the return was negligible. I mean, absolutely
how
not.
Do you track it?
Yeah. He said he couldn't tell any difference between his day-to-day operations whatsoever. And he did like a 6-month, once a month
rotation with them.
Yeah. I mean, those are full page ads
they're gorgeous.
in a nice magazine, and he paid a lot of fucking money, dude.
Yeah.
So threw away a lot of money is what it sounds like.
It's just the technology's changing too fast, I think, nowadays. You know, you can advertise on Facebook, or well, not so much Facebook, I should say, anymore. It used to be able to back in the day.
Hey, I had a hookup. I got hooked up with a guy who works at Facebook, and I've actually had some ads approved in the past 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh, well, nice to talk.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because that used to be a big avenue for us that we were advertising with them till from 2014 all the way up, and we just got immediately shut off.
See, I never get approved right to start with, but if I go through my back channels, it's been working for me. It's been working for me. We'll talk about that.
More about that.
Definitely. So S3F, you guys started the business. You're growing. You went from 44 to where you are today. Do you think that you can kind of pinpoint a time during that timeline that you kind of had a big break, or like something that you were able to take advantage of to really grow the company?
2015 was probably 15 to 16 was probably like our big breaks, when we started to get really solidified as like a name in the industry. We were producing barrels for agency. I worked for them, and we brought on Aiden Ozuna for a while as well. We did a lot of their marketing and stuff like that. So we started to co-brand with a lot of other guys. Mission Volant, we started up as well. And so the name was very easy for us to like work with a lot of different organizations. We ran our own SHOT Show booths, and so we allowed those companies to come into our booths as well and co-booth with them. So that really kind of put us in a solidified spot where it's like, hey, like we're white labeling for a lot of these guys. We produce our own product. We've got shooters that are on the board that are running our stuff. We've got a good reputation of these barrels are accurate. We like to stay out, and we're also shooters. So we're going out there and shooting 3-gun and USPSAs and being relatable to the consumer base, because it's not just like, hey, call the customer service line, wait for a little while, someone will get you back. Like, if you have a problem, you can email me directly.
Okay.
Or a majority of the guys that we're running and shooting with, like, they have my cell phones. If something's wrong with it, like either myself, Aiden, or my father, who's working at the company now, is going to get right back to you as well.
That's good, man. I noticed a big uptick in my business when I started making myself a little bit more accessible. I used to be the no DM guy, I'll answer the phone between 9 to 5 guy. Right. But when I opened that up and I started, being a little bit more accessible to my customers, I noticed a really big uptick. That was a big deal for me.
Yeah, it's I will. That's another double-edged sword as well. It's like, because social media is such a powerful thing now, and it gives. What's up, Aiden? What's up, baby?
Is that Aiden Ozuna?
Yeah, Aiden's watching right now.
What's up, brother? How are you?
And because social media is such a powerful thing and gives you so much access to everyone, it's very hard to almost set off a shutoff time. For example, Facebook's a perfect example, where I have a Facebook, and if I'm logged onto Facebook and that little green bubble is by my name, that means that whoever is on my Facebook will, they have free access to send me a message, ask a question, or whatever it is. And so those standard times of 9 to 5, while that works for large corporations, I think that for us, it's been a lot of a benefit to really put ourselves forward and to talk with the consumer base whenever they reach out to us, or like they have a question, or honestly, one of the most asked questions that we get on any time of the day is, hey man, my barrel won't go into my slide, and I can't figure it out. And it turns out that they just have a slide Cerakoted.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's something I run into a lot.
Yeah. And so it's just like, hey, that's pretty normal. Either scrape out a little bit of Cerakote or just rack that barrel in and rack. It'll work its way into it. Yeah. But not having the consumer have to sometimes like go through email chains, wait for consumer base. Okay, now you're getting forwarded onto this guy. Okay, now you're getting forwarded onto a gun tech.
Mm-hmm.
When they can simply email you, contact you, or just Facebook you or DM you. For us, it's been a lot more of a benefit for us. It's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Because every morning, I mean, in our Instagram, like we've got 140 million people, or no, sorry, 140,000 people on our.
Damn, dude.
I wish 140,000 people coming into it, and we get a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pull this mic up real quick.
Oh, no sweat. Oh man, yeah. So this is my first in studio interview. If you guys want to call what I got going on here at studio, but this is pretty cool. I'm enjoying this.
Does that rotate?
Nope, it's not rotating. Do it again. I'm sorry, I won't watch it. No, it did not rotate.
No.
It did, but it made me sideways.
It's all right, because this will be on the.
Oh yeah, we'll edit some of that stuff out and we'll package it up and make it nice and pretty when we put it all up there. So getting back to how old are you, brother?
I'm 32.
32, young man. So if you could go back and you could tell Chris at 20 years old something to do,
mm-hmm.
give him some info, give him some insight on the future, what would you tell that dude?
Slow the fuck down. Yeah, honestly, I mean, it'd be slow down. Everything happens for a reason, essentially. Mm-hmm. As cliche as that is, I mean, there's good and bad in your life, and you're not going to be in control of all of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like you have to learn how to roll with the punches, and everything's going to be okay.
I got you.
The other thing I'd probably tell is reach out for help more. I think as an infantry guy, like it's very usual or very typical to say like, hey man, I've never met a door too strong or a wall too tall that I can't
mm-hmm.
breach through. But sometimes like you definitely need to surround yourself with a team that is smarter than you or has different skill sets than you. And luckily I've been able to find that in a few guys that are currently working for us, like Aiden being one of them.
Aiden's a good cat, man. Good cat. I think a lot of Aiden. He's very, very personable guy.
He's been a solid member of what this organization is for years now.
That's awesome, man.
If it wasn't for him, it definitely we wouldn't probably not be where we're at today.
That's good, man. That's good. So, tell my listeners how they can get in touch with you, man. Where can they find your website, your social media stuff?
Yeah, so our website's just S3Fsolutions.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions in regards to any of our products, myself, the company, anything like that, you can always use info@S3Fsolutions.com. Richard, my father, and Johnny Greer, he's two of the guys that have been working with us now pretty seriously, and they are always managing that. If you need to go to hold of me directly, you can go to Chris, CHRIS, at S3Fsolutions.com, my personal Instagram of Blood and Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And either one of those, you send me a message, and I'll probably get back to you within 24 hours.
Awesome, man, awesome. Well, I'm going to sign off of the podcast here. We can continue the Instagram live here in a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
But guys, I appreciate everybody popping in here and listening to what we have to say. Chris, I really appreciate you coming in here with me, man. I know you're a busy dude. And, if you guys enjoy what you're seeing, let me know. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube, like and subscribe. It'll be up on iTunes, Stitcher, all that good stuff with the podcast. So, if you guys leave me a review, I would greatly appreciate it. And we're going to sign off here on the podcast, and we're going to continue talking on the Instagram Live. But everybody have a great day. I appreciate you coming in here.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.